Here we are, the boys, Wardo and the Don, episode number 7.
I am Wardo.
I am the Don, and we are here. And before we get into everything, we got a lot of talk about in this episode. I just want to remind everybody, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Wardo and the Don. You can hit us up, wardoandthedon.wordpress.com, and always keep an eye out for us on Spotify search. Wardo and the Don. Everything you hear in the beginning and the out of the song is on the playlist, including many other jams.
Yeah, there's a lot of jams on that playlist. Let's jump into it. We got playoff football going right now. The Chargers actually, as we were starting up, just went for two after scoring a pretty controversial touchdown. It was almost overturned. Maybe it was a fumble, but they ended up scoring. They're up 20-3 right now. We had some action yesterday as well. So looking like the Chargers are going to take this one, and then there was some action yesterday as well.
This has been a real ugly game, but I love it. It's classic football playoffs. You know, none of this high-scoring nonsense. I like defense, turnovers, the whole nine.
Yeah, I mean, I love it as a Patriots fan as well because, these defenses have looked kind of stout. But I feel like there's been a lot of, really big offensive mistakes as well. So, I'm not scared of the Chargers now. I mean, I watched this game. They are playing on the road in Baltimore and everything, but I'm not scared of them this week, especially Rivers going into Gillette, which is his kryptonite. You know, I'm just not scared of either of these teams watching this game, honestly.
Same. Going into the week, I was very concerned about. I thought Baltimore was unstoppable for some reason. I just had a gut feeling, but they haven't played well so far today.
Lamar Jackson is maybe playing himself out of a starting job. He had a pretty good season, but
they're not going to go back to Flacco.
I don't know if they're. I don't think they're going to back to Flacco. I don't know what they're going to do. But you watch this game. I mean, he started the game. I know the first time I went to look up his stats when I was thinking, wow, this guy's playing awful. He was 2 for 8 for 17 yards and an interception. So you can't, and he's not a passer. So how can you? I don't know. I mean, I get it. You can run the ball, control the clock with a good defense, but how can you expect to win a title with a guy who can't pass the ball?
Yesterday it was. The Colts looked. I can't decide. Did the Colts look really good, or do the Texans just blow?
I feel like the Texans trended down as the year went, and I feel that way about the Chiefs as well. I don't know. The NFC scares me. I look at some of the top NFC teams: the Saints, the Rams, the Bears. They're kind of intimidating. Where honestly, the Chiefs or the Chargers or at one point these teams seemed like they were kind of intimidating, but I'm not intimidated by them.
Same. I think everything once again is coming up Patriots, and everything's kind of the stars are aligning. People are getting injured, and teams are playing their worst football of the entire season. And
yeah.
Patriots are kind of trending upwards. They're looking good. On the NFC side, Dallas with a pretty impressive win over Seattle yesterday.
Yeah, no, that was a big win for them.
And we got later on today we'll probably be watching together the Bears-Eagles game.
Yep.
I believe in Nick Foles. I think he's going to win that game.
I'm telling you, I'd love to talk to, I have a couple of friends that are Eagles fans, but I'd love to talk to more Eagles fans because I really want to know. I mean, I guess it's per se the Eagles do win today, which honestly I do expect the Bears to win at home. But at the same time, that's my prediction. But would I be surprised if the Eagles won today? Not at all.
I'm kind of on that, I'm all in on Nick Foles. Trade Carson Wentz, get him out of here.
If they trade Carson Wentz, New England would be a great spot for him. I'll say that right now.
Speaking of good spots for good people, there's upwards of 8 coaching jobs available right now, and we're only a couple weeks into the off season. I'll just rattle them off really quick.
Yeah, there's some sexy ones out
We
there.
have the Jets, Packers, Browns, Broncos, Buccaneers, Cardinals, Dolphins, and Bengals.
Yeah, so I think top 2, just first thought, top 2 would be Browns, Packers. Those are both. I can't believe I'm saying that the Browns are at the top of that.
The Browns are a top coaching job?
Yeah, and I think they got the quarterback finally, and I think the nucleus of the guys that they've drafted the last couple of years are on defense and everything. They're going to be a great team. I honestly think they are the top job out there, even over the Packers with Aaron Rodgers.
This is going to sound crazy, but I think the Browns in one season have turned their entire culture around.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it all starts with the quarterback too, and also, it all starts with the head coach, and they had a loser with Hugh Jackson, and now they moved on from him. And there's not when Hugh Jackson was there was a losing culture. I don't care what you say. The guy just does nothing but lose in the NFL.
I think the worst job available out of the ones that I listed is by far the Dolphins.
So yeah, the Dolphins are weird because they seem to be like sold on Tannehill.
I heard he's
Kenyon
not coming
Drake.
back.
Yeah, I think Kenyon. I heard that as well. I think Kenyon Drake is actually a really good running back. Um, I don't know. When they had Landry there, I always thought a lot of Landry. Now he's in Cleveland, so that's great for Cleveland.
But would you rather be, the AFC East has been, dominated by the Patriots for a long time. Would you rather be, at this point in time, the Jets, the Bills, or the Dolphins?
I would rather be the Jets, surprisingly, because I know they had a rough year this year. I think they went 4-12. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 4-12.
Something like that.
But at the same time, they did manage the number 3 pick overall in the draft, and they have $100 million in cap space. So that's kind of like an underrated one. Like, obviously, the Browns and the Packers, those look sexy. You look at the players that you're talking about, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield, things like that. But I think that's the underrated job, is that one there.
The Packers could be a little problematic. There's been, some reports about, how coachable is Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot of pressure up in Green Bay. Everybody in town is an owner of the team,
Yeah, absolutely. The Packers have a huge fan base, and they're also one of the more historic NFL teams. They're, historically they're always good. They I can't remember a time when they weren't at the very least 500. Like even this year, they were around a 500 team. I'm not sure exactly what their record looked, but they were about a 500 team on, if you looked at them play, they're going to win some weeks and they're going to drop the ball some weeks. They just didn't have enough talent. They always injuries. Mike McCarthy at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and this kind of ties into the Patriots in a sense because for a few years now, McDaniels has been kind of rumored to be interviewing for coaching jobs. And I heard a report the other day that Cincinnati called him and he kind of said thanks, but no thanks.
That's actually hilarious, to be honest with you. That's where Cincinnati's at, is that they actually asked him for an interview and he said no. I mean, I literally, me and a buddy of mine were dying laughing about it.
Yeah, it's funny, but out of all those teams, I could see McDaniels maybe going to the Browns.
Yeah, he's from the Cleveland area. I'm pretty sure he went to high school in the Cleveland area.
I don't like him for the Packers job. I think Rodgers might even look at him like, I know you prefer Brady over me, stuff like that.
I just think it's an overrated job right now. I think you look at it and you're like, oh wow, it's the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, but what else? What else you got? I think it's overrated. I think you got the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and I understand that, but I do think it's an overrated job right now.
And now that we're kind of on the Patriots, we have the game on behind us. We're going to get the winner of it.
Yeah, so it's already decided that next week the Colts will play the Chiefs at Arrowhead in Kansas City. And now, obviously, we will play the winner of this Baltimore Chargers game, which, if something crazy happens, fine. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Chargers. It's 20-3 right now. Baltimore can't get a first down, never mind a touchdown. So I think this game's about a wrap.
Yeah, I do like the whole West Coast team coming east. It's Brady, it's Belichick, it's Phillip Rivers, his history. I do like the Patriots in that game, right now.
Yeah, me too. If it was in LA, although LA isn't the most treacherous place to play right now, if you're maybe the Rams seem to have somewhat of a fan base, but the Chargers don't seem to have much of a fan base in LA. So I think playing even them in LA, but regardless, it's going to be in Gillette. They're an LA team. It's I know they're playing in cold weather right now, but Lamar Jackson isn't Tom Brady. They're going to be coming to Gillette next week. I see the Patriots taking that game.
I'm going to hit you with a bit of a take attack here, Jared.
All right.
Who's your NFL MVP?
My NFL MVP, it's got to be Mahomes. It's got to be Mahomes.
See, I'm leaning more towards Andrew Luck, and I'll tell you why. Because they started 1-5. Him coming back, he turned their season around, and now
Luck is I tell you right now, he's underrated, and he's hands down the comeback player of the year, which is tough because J.J. Watt, I believe, had 16 sacks or so in his. So between him and Andrew Luck, one of those guys, I have Andrew Luck as the comeback player of the year.
Would you be surprised though that if Andrew Luck and the Colts went into Arrowhead and beat Andy Reid and a rookie Patrick Mahomes?
I would be surprised, yes.
I
can't say that I wouldn't be. I mean, honestly, you got a rookie quarterback. Your defense is extremely suspect. Do I think that Luck can put up a lot of points? I think so. I mean, I think you're looking at like a 40-30 type game next week. Luck's gonna put up points on the Chiefs. The Chiefs, like, let's not like butter it up. The Chiefs defense is terrible.
Yeah.
And like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, the two seed. Like, yeah, don't rank the Patriots defense with the Chiefs defense, because although the Patriots defense at times does look suspect, they've definitely rounded into form as the season has gone on. And I'll tell you, even in some of our losses, like we were talking about the game with Pittsburgh, they only we lost 17-10. That's on the offense. 17 points to an offense, a top 5 NFL offense like the Steelers. We should have won that game. The defense isn't as suspect as people think it is. I think they have the ability to make plays for sure.
I gotta credit Colin Cowherd with this take, but excuse me, he pointed out that the Patriots missed the number 1 seed because Gronk is a bad safety.
Yeah.
If they make that tackle in the Miami game, they're the number 1 seed.
That's actually a really good take. I feel like when I talk about that, and they're like, oh, they're 11-5, and it's like, well, probably should have been 12-4. That Miami game, and I've said it before on a couple podcasts ago, I believe. I said, like, that is a win. Like, I know that it's a loss because of what happened, but we won the game. Like, we did enough to win the game, and then barring some miracle play, like you said, Gronk was on the field, should have been on the field. There's plenty of things to talk about, but realistically, as far as the football game went, we were in position to win. Didn't play the best game, shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, but we did pretty much win that game. So I don't know. I've had my doubts this year, and I definitely don't think this is the best Patriots team I've ever seen. But for me to tell you that they don't have a chance, I can't say that. We can definitely go. We can definitely come out of the AFC. A lot of young quarterbacks, a lot of suspect quarterbacks. Like, fine, Rivers is here, but Rivers is known to throw picks in clutch situations.
He doesn't even curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I see. Not that
Fuck
I think
Phillip
that,
Rivers.
Not that I think we're for sure going, but I certainly think that we have a very good chance.
Very good chance, and it's kind of funny that Patriot Nation looks at an 11-5, probably should have been 12-4 season, and they're like, the Patriots suck. Trade Brady.
No,
we're so spoiled.
We've had better records with worse defenses. I know.
Absolutely.
For years, I never worried about our offense, and I'm a little worried about it. I know that you can stop our offense now. We seem like kind of a gimmick offense. We use a lot of like James White out of the backfield, Cordell Patterson out of the backfield. We seem more gimmicky than back when we were like a legit, like power offense. We would 5 wide. We would just spread you out and just pick you apart. And we're not that anymore. We're kind of a gimmick offense, which is fine if we can put up the points. We need our defense to step up, make plays, get some turnovers.
This is a bit of a new segment. I don't know if you can believe it. I'm gonna hit you with another take attack, Jared. Early. Next year, Super Bowl favorites. Who you got?
Well, this is tough.
For those who don't know, a take attack is when I ask Jared a question that he has not prepared for, and I did not tell him in advance. So I'm putting him on the spot here.
I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears because of a defense with Khalil Mack. I feel like they got the players on offense like Tariq Cohen, and they really just Trubisky seems to be making the plays. Like, I think if he rounds into the quarterback, if he rounds into like a top 10 quarterback with that defense, that could be a very dangerous team next year.
See, I think Trubisky blows.
Yeah, and that's a take, and I feel like it remains to be seen. Like, I'm not saying that I think he's great. I just don't think. I'm not sure if he sucks yet.
True.
They got the number 3 seed. It is his first year as a starter. I feel like I'm saying, if he can round into, I'm not saying he is, but if he can round into a top 10 quarterback with that defense,
if he could be like an Alex Smith with that defense, then
that's a dangerous team. Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with like Dallas. Dallas has a really good defense. Actually, that could also be between one of those two teams in the NFC, because if Amari Cooper keeps making plays with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak, and if that defense continues to be a top defense, another team that could be a force next year.
I'd like to kind of hang out in the Midwest here for a little bit. Also in Illinois, the Winter Classic.
That was awesome.
That was a great thing.
That was a great game.
The national anthem, that gave me chills.
Yeah, the national anthem was amazing. How about the boys? The suits they showed up in, man. Marshawn they all had the scally caps and the top hats. Marshawn had a little pocket watch hanging out of his vest.
Truthfully, they were they were outdone by Notre Dame and Michigan.
Absolutely.
Those sweaters were all time.
Yeah, I was just saying to a buddy yesterday that I think those Michigan jerseys, they were super simple, but they might be like
Crisp.
my favorite jerseys
Crisp.
of all time. Yeah,
Just,
those might be the GOAT.
Bury me in those. But it was good to see the Bruins get the W, national TV, New Year's Day, a nice 4-2 victory.
Yeah, and I think like it was almost like one of those like storybook, like you had Pasta and Bergy scoring a goal, Marshy scored the open net.
First line showing up. Yeah, and then you also had the fourth line coming through. Wagner, Grzelcyk, a couple of Granny Smith apples.
Yeah, and Corrali, I believe, scored a goal, and I think I want to say he's from like the area.
Yeah.
So that was like a local kid scoring.
Interesting side note that I picked up during the game: the Blackhawks. This was their fourth Winter Classic, and they've lost every single one.
Wow.
And they're not good as a team anymore.
No,
so
they're having a really, really difficult year. Like I said, I was watching the last one. I was watching the the build up to the Winter Classic, and they were talking about that. Like, they really are struggling. They kept 2 or 3 guys around, and they're trying to rebuild, and it just doesn't seem to be working.
I mean, they're an original 6 squad. I have faith that they'll turn it around.
I think so too.
But at this point, they should probably stop getting, the most important, or at least the most popular regular season game in the league.
Yeah.
And hate to see it,
I
but
would love to see Toronto.
yeah, Toronto's always a good choice.
They were the home team, as it being Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, Toronto, with them getting Tavares this year and stuff, that would have been an interesting one to watch.
For sure. And, hopefully next year I would like to see – I always do like to see an original 6 team in the Winter Classic, but
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't mind seeing, like a warm weather team get in there.
That would be awesome.
If they're gonna have warm weather cities, include them in the national thing.
Yeah, I can understand that. And there's actually some really good warm weather teams. You talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I don't know if you saw the Dallas Stars GM kind of rip into Sagan and Jamie Benn. He said they suck and they don't try hard and all that stuff.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's another fairly warm weather good team. And then there's some good teams out in California too.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine getting just a Kings Red Wings game in Michigan or something like that.
Yeah, the Kings. I was thinking along the line of the Sharks too. You got Joey T with the beard outdoors. Brent Burns, big defenseman, hard hitter.
And just always, the Winter Classic I don't know if it's the same artist drawing up the jerseys every year, but well done.
Yeah, they do well. And I think this year the heyday of Notre Dame football was the 1930s.
It was a nice kind of underlining theme to the game,
So for us, this year it was okay, they won the national championship in 1934, so I think that's why they based the jerseys off of 1934.
They should never make the college football playoffs again, but that's for another time.
Yeah, I feel like they weaseled their way in. And the more I think about it, they had no business there.
No business. Moving on quickly to the other team in town, Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Not a lot's changed. Gordon Hayward's looked really good recently. There's been a lot of other stuff going on around the NBA that we kind of want to hit on now.
Yeah, I mean, like you touched on, there's not much new to talk about with the Celtics. 23-15. They're on a 2-game win streak right now. Kyrie's doing Kyrie things. Tatum seems to be continuing to progress. Hayward, like you mentioned, Hayward looks great. There's not much surprising. Smart's playing great D, and he's been shooting really well lately. Smart. But yeah, the couple other things around the league. The Lakers have slipped to 8th place at 21-18 with LeBron hurt.
Did you see that interview that was out across the internet about kind of LeBron watching his own highlights, and he's like, "Yeah, this was the moment."
Yeah, I actually watched
that. Made me the greatest
More than
player.
An athlete. It's on ESPN Plus. I watched it. It's actually a really good documentary series, but that was kind of an awkward moment, honestly.
To be honest, for a very long time, I was like, "There's no way LeBron's the GOAT." But the more you look at it, I think he might be. It's really.
I think his career is the GOAT. His career is amazing.
The impact. If he leaves a team, last place.
Yeah.
He immediately brings a team up. He's made the finals
He's a dominant force in the NBA.
10 years in a row.
For a very long time. So it's hard to say no.
But it's a weird thing with sports fans where. Yeah, you may be the greatest of all time, but don't say it out loud, man.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like it's a little arrogant.
Have you ever heard Brady be like, "Yeah, that was the throw that made me the greatest quarterback"? It's no. Yeah. But anyways, aside from that, I did like the other night with the Celtics when the Mavericks came to town. Dirk Nowitzki, who I've been a fan for a long time, when he took the court, the Celtics crowd gave him a standing ovation, which was just classic Boston.
I love that. I'm a huge Dirk guy. When I was watching the game, I said that, so I was really happy to hear the Boston fans, give him what he's well deserved. That's his last game in Boston, which I believe it is. Like he deserved that. He really did. He's a clear cut first ballot Hall of Fame player. He's a great player, maybe one of the top 25 NBA players of all time.
He's certainly the best foreign-born player of all time.
Yeah, and he's top 20, top 25 player of all time. So he deserves what he got. I'm glad that Boston fans showed a little love.
And Boston fans, regardless if you've never played for us, if you play the game the right way and you play with heart, we'll respect you and we'll show that to you at the end of your career.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think that's exactly it too. We respect the way he played the game.
And you compare that to San Antonio fans who, when the Raptors visited them, they had Kawhi with the traitor chance at the free throw line.
I feel like it was classless, honestly. Kawhi won them a championship. He's a good player. It's all a business. I don't think it's all his fault.
Kawhi's not Tim Duncan. I get it. He's not in the same legendary status in Spurs players, but he's still probably top 3 player in the league. And
absolutely,
for whatever reason, he wanted to get out of town, but they hit him with a traitor chant. It's grow up.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's classless. It's like when Isaiah came back to Boston, things like that. It wasn't his fault we traded him. I have a lot of love for Isaiah. I think the trade worked out for us.
You're gonna trade Isaiah for Kyrie 10 times out of 10.
Absolutely.
Let's not debate.
It's a business, and I understand that, but I wasn't gonna boo Isaiah. But whatever. That's exactly it. He was a player. He went on a couple playoff runs with us. I like Isaiah. He's a scrapper.
Lastly, we had the I don't know if you saw the Jimmy Butler situation in Philly.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about it. Apparently, he's already making an ass of himself in Philly. He's made an ass of himself the last 2 teams with Chicago and Minnesota. It seemed like I don't know exactly what happened. I feel like people were giving him the benefit of the doubt with Chicago, they weren't really doing what was necessary. So they get him out of there. They send him to Minnesota, which I thought he was in a good situation in Minnesota.
They get a lot of talent over there.
Yeah, you got Karl Anthony Towns. There's some good players, and I don't know what his problem is, but he just seems to have a problem everywhere he goes, which is fine. If he wants to go be a cancer for the 76ers, that's only going to help the Celtics out anyway. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Basically leaves pretty much just the Raptors in terms of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Getting to the finals. We'll probably see the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Bucks, you got Giannis, but how much further does it go?
Who else you got?
Yeah, how much further does it go? Giannis is great, but I don't see it going much else. Also, the Rockets are on kind of a run here, and James Harden's been playing at an MVP level. So.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
It feels like every episode, the more I talk shit about James Harden, the more he plays better.
Yeah, he goes on these runs where he's the best player in the league. He gets cold too, but.
Well, it's easy when you get to take 6 steps and the rest of the league gets 2.
I know.
But
he does have a bizarre style, doesn't he?
He does. But as we were watching the game behind us now, it's looking like the Chargers are going to handle this up pretty easily. We were watching the games together last night, and that got us thinking about our top 5 broadcasters of all time.
Yeah.
So this is going to be our weekly, what I'm calling an unlimited top 5, because we always pick 5, and then we always seem to rattle off a few more.
Yeah, there's always several honorable mentions. The Ravens just dropped a touchdown, but I think that's only going to make it 23-10.
Yeah.
So the Chargers
you never
are
know.
going to pull this out.
You never know what could happen. But so our top 5 broadcasters. Personally, I don't know about you, what your criteria was, but I tried to limit it to guys who call the game.
Yeah.
And
me too.
in my honorable mentions, I do have a couple SportsCenter guys who have amazing careers and they're very, lovable and awesome.
Yeah.
But in terms of the top 5 list, I tried to keep it to just guys who call the game.
Yeah, me too.
So I'll rattle mine off real quick. If you don't know by now, if you've listened to a few episodes, my top 5s are usually pretty personal, and I tend to be more of a homer. So that being said, number 5, Gil Santos, Patriots radio broadcast for a very long time. Number 4, John Madden. Just classic.
Madden was classic, yeah.
The Frank Caliendo impressions also spot on.
Yeah. Madden was just classic to listen. He used to say some of the most obvious stuff, but he's John Madden. You know?
Yeah, he's fucking John Madden, man.
You gotta hit the hole, and whoever scores more points is gonna win the game.
Number 3, this is both for his talent as a broadcaster and also just for nostalgia purposes through the Tiger Woods video games, but David Faraday. Getting long off the tee, Bill.
Yeah, Faraday's my boy. I got so much love for David Faraday.
Number 2, like I said, I am an absolute homer, and I realize he's shit, but he's kind of so shit he's bad. His teeth are also colored as shit, but that's Jack Edwards.
Yeah, we were talking about it. I'm not big on Jack Edwards. Kind of more of a brick guy myself, but I do understand why people love him. He does bring an excitement to it. He does.
Does lovable loser mean anything too?
Yeah, I guess that is the way to put it.
And number 1, this is just fact, not opinion. Al Michaels is
Do
the
you
greatest.
believe in miracles?
Yeah, he's just every sport. Like, he's been doing this thing for like 40 years now. He's just number 1, no doubt about it.
Amazing. He's been involved in some of the best calls, in sports history. And all right, so I'll start mine off as well. At number 5, I got Dick Vitale. Dick Vitale's the man. I've always been a huge Dick Vitale guy.
Are you serious?
Are you serious? Yeah, he's unbelievable. Listening to him call college basketball games honestly is the best. Like as soon as something exciting happens, you're just waiting for his reaction to it. At 4, huge. Obviously a big hockey guy, but Doc Emmerich. When I listen to Doc Emmerich on NBC Sports, the way he calls a hockey game is literally perfect, and he brings the excitement.
He's like a true professional. Brings exactly like you said, brings the excitement.
He doesn't miss a beat, and you can tell he loves hockey, and he loves calling every game he calls, and just like it always reminds me of the NHL playoffs and things like that.
I look forward to when we do our top 5 least, because I'm pretty sure where Pierre Maguire is going to be.
Oh yeah, no, I have several. Several bottom 5. So at 3, rounding out, you get Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz is the best. He calls the Masters every year. It literally gives me the chills. Watch his intro on Sunday at the Masters is like one of the things I look forward to more than anything. Goosebumps. Every year, he personalizes it to whatever's going on in the tournament, but he always brings up the history and just his voice at the Masters with the Masters theme going. It's unbelievable. Number 2. Unbelievable, Vin Scully. Vin Scully was unbelievable, and it's a beautiful evening here.
Yeah,
he was unbelievable. And 1 is the same as yours. I got Al Michaels.
He's the best.
I think you think about it. He's called for so long, and I think about the "Do you believe in miracles?" call, and that's just one of many that
he's called a few Patriots Super Bowls.
Yep.
He's called everything.
So you had Madden and Faraday. I also had them in my honorable mentions. I also have Dan Patrick's kind of like a. He's an icon, man. That guy's he's like a role model.
It's like those Sports Center guys, like I have in my honorable mentions, like a Stuart Scott,
exactly.
a Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah, no, that's exactly just like those guys. Yeah, just true, just OGs of the sports game, And I also had Bob Costas, who could very easily slide into my top 5. Bob Costas has been.
I love Bob Costas.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but I don't doubt that he's. An amazing at what he does. And other than that, honestly,
I do have would you eat the moon if it would made of ribs? Harry Carey, he's got to be on there as all-time legend.
And I know he's not one of the greatest of all time. Clearly, he's only been doing it for a year or 2. But Tony Romo has been spot on with his play-by-play since he started. And
I agree.
Wasn't the biggest fan of him as a player. Kind of didn't think much of him at all. Honestly, I'm not a Cowboys guy, but. I'll tell you, as a play-by-play guy, I really like Romo. He really knows what he's talking about, and he's spot on with his play-by-play. He really is.
Yeah, I distinctly remember when we were watching the Patriots-Steelers game, he was breaking down the coaching decisions, pinpoint where I was to the...
before the snap, he seems to be the best play-by-play guy that I can recall in recent memory, because, before the ball is snapped, he seems to tell you almost 9 out of 10 times exactly what's about to go down, and it's impressive.
Well, that's our unlimited top 5. You never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, this could go on for hours, really.
If you have any top 5s you want us to do, hit us up, Wardo and The Don at gmail.com. Don't forget, you can also check us out on Facebook.com/Wardo and The Don. wardoandthedon.wordpress.com. And as always, like the jam you're about to hear, search for us on Spotify, Wardo and The Don. This is episode 7. Hope we sound a little bit better. We're looking pretty good, Jared. We got some nice fancy mics going.
Yeah, absolutely. We got these new mics. We're new mic goofing over here. And hey, enjoy the NFL playoffs. We got, the last 5 minutes of this one going on, and then we got Chicago and Philly tonight. That should be another good game. And, hey, we'll see you at Gillette next week, the winner of this game, which it's looking like it's going to be the Chargers. So
look for us after the Patriots game, or even maybe before. We'll get our predictions, and we'll be sure to hit on it next episode. But thanks for listening. As always, Wardo and The Don.
Yeah, have a good one. Enjoy.
The sun is rising, most definitely. A new